So when I first received this fragrance in the mail, gave the tester strip and then my skin a spray, I just remember thinking, am I the only one that is getting this from this fragrance? Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole. If you enjoy beauty, fragrance, and makeup, then you are definitely in the right place. Boy, oh boy, you guys, has this fragrance been all over social media, and it has definitely caused quite the stir, and I do have quite a few thoughts of my own to share with you all. Now, before we get started, I did want to share with you that I did purchase this fragrance myself with my own money. Now, the reason I wanted to point that out, for whatever reason when it comes to Kayali, for fragrance reviewers that did receive their fragrances free in PR, it seems to be a kind of general consensus here that if they enjoy the fragrance, then they are not giving their honest opinion. Now, I can certainly understand where those people are coming from. However, being that I have been on both sides of the spectrum, I can tell you that most people are not willing to sacrifice their entire channel, their integrity, for a free bottle of perfume. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but I can tell you, regardless whether I receive this fragrance in PR, whether it's a sponsored video, whether I purchase the fragrance myself, you can be assured I will always give you guys my honest opinion. But anyways, I did purchase this fragrance myself. Now, I know it initially got leaked on Mercari in the United States. Just so you know how I was able to get this fragrance early, I was actually able to purchase it on Facebook through Sephora. So this fragrance is set to release on March 21st on both Sephora and Huda Beauty. Now, I did purchase the 100 ml. This did retail for $100 US, and this is 1.7 fluid ounces or 50 mils of product. Now, I do see this comment floating around quite a bit online. So if you are interested in purchasing the mini bottle that looks just like this, but it is the 10 ml, Sephora does not always carry that size bottle, so definitely check out Huda Beauty as well. All right, so I do have lots of thoughts, but first let's take a quick look at the packaging. So as you can see, it does look like all of the other Kayali bottles. However, the packaging this time is a nice matte kind of green color. And as you can see, the bottle is not fully opaque, so you will be able to see how much fragrance you have used. All right, so before I get into my overall thoughts, what my nose picks up with this fragrance, first let's get into the main accords and notes. The main accords on Fragrantica are sweet, woody, vanilla, warm spicy, citrus, powdery, nutty, aromatic, white floral, and fresh. All right, you guys, buckle up. There are definitely a lot of notes listed. So the top notes are pistachio, bergamot, rum, ice cream, hazelnut, and cardamom. The middle notes are lily of the valley, peony, pear, jasmine, geranium, raspberry, and white peach. And the base notes are whipped cream, marshmallow, sandalwood, cotton candy, cedar, tonka bean, lucum, and cacao. So I don't know what it is when it comes to Kayali. Perhaps it's because it is a brand that is so popular, but I even saw a lot of people getting upset that there are so many notes listed. Now, in my experience, most fragrances do have many notes, they just don't list them all. Now, when it comes to all of the notes listed for Yum Pistachio Gelato 33, I will say this is an incredibly well blended fragrance. My nose does not pick up each and every note. So I have heard so many different variations of this fragrance. Some people say it is fresh, some say it's clean, some say it smells like baby wipes, some say it smells like bathroom cleaner. You guys, I've heard it all. And I really think that's just because fragrances are so subjective. And of course, we all have different preferences when it comes to fragrances. So I remember when I first received this fragrance in the mail, put a spray on the tester strip, and then on my skin, I took a big whiff, and I just remember thinking, am I the only one that is getting this from this fragrance? So I know there are some people that did mention they do pick up sweet notes and also a gourmand vibe. But you guys, that is pretty much all I get when it comes to this fragrance. Now hold on, this fragrance was far from anything I could have expected. Now I initially expected this to be a very heavy, dense, and rich kind of pistachio ice cream scent that would best suit the fall and winter months. Now, I don't really know why I expected that. I mean, after all, they did release this fragrance in spring, but no, I was definitely wrong. This fragrance you could absolutely wear all year long, but I do think it is best suited for the spring and summer months. Now, I do think there are two very important factors when it comes to Kayali. Now, I will say I do typically enjoy many of Kayali's fragrances. Now, I know most people mention they get crap for longevity. These fragrances just do not last on most people's skin. Now, I do have the same experience with certain fragrances. However, when it comes to the newest Vanilla Royale, also Amber Invite Only, those fragrances are almost beast mode on my skin. Not quite, of course, but those fragrances, they stick to my skin like glue. But when it comes to the infamous Vanilla 28 fragrance, I don't know what it is, you guys. I spray that fragrance and a half hour later, I just cannot smell it on my skin. So here's the deal. At the end of the day, however long these fragrances last on your skin is however long these fragrances last on your skin. We are not all going to have the exact same experience when it comes to longevity, but I am going to share with you my experience. Now, we are going to get into the actual scent in just a second here, so don't you worry. But when it comes to the projection and longevity of Yum Pistachio Gelato, first of all, I don't get a lot of projection. I do get about an elbow's length scent bubble for about an hour, but after that, it does die down quite a bit. Now, when it comes to most of Kayali's fragrances, if I overspray and also spray my skin in addition to my clothes, I typically can get a good 4 to 6 hours of longevity. Now, thank goodness, I do get better longevity with Yum as opposed to Vanilla 28, and I am so happy about that because, you guys, it doesn't matter how many sprays, where I spray. With Vanilla 28, that fragrance just does not last. But if I overspray, spray my hair, my clothes, and my skin, I can get better longevity than Vanilla 28. However, is this new fragrance actually an intense? Well, again, that's going to be subjective. However, when it comes to my opinion, no, I would not say that Yum is an intense fragrance. But if I enjoy the scent profile that much, I am willing to spray halfway through the day. But I understand that is not going to be everyone's preference or experience, and that's okay. All right, so all of that said, what does my nose actually pick up with Yum Pistachio Gelato? Well, I'll tell you what I definitely don't pick up. I don't pick up a bathroom cleaner, and I don't pick up soap. And in fact, I actually don't find this fragrance soapy at all. Now again, that does not mean that those that do get that vibe with this fragrance are wrong. No, we just all have different experiences. But anyways, I was definitely expecting a very thick and dense kind of pistachio ice cream scent, and that's not really what I get. Now, I know quite a few people have mentioned they do get quite a citrusy and soapy vibe. Now, I don't really get soapy, and I also don't really get a ton of citrus. What this fragrance reminds me of, just to simplify it, it reminds me of a margarita with a ton of sugar minus the alcohol. So it's not so much that it's super citrusy in the sense of like peeling an orange with a rind, but I definitely do pick up almost like a lime, very sugary margarita scent. And that's the other thing, you guys. When I first sprayed this fragrance, I just remember thinking, this fragrance is incredibly sweet. So I can definitely understand where that cotton candy note is coming from. Now I know, again, not everyone picks up super sweet notes, but to my nose, I get a very sugary, sweet gourmand fragrance. Now this fragrance does have a bit of a creamy undertone to it, but not in the sense of a super thick ice cream. To my nose, it just has a little bit of a creamy lactonic undertone. Now another thing that I really find interesting with this fragrance, I really don't pick up a ton of florals. If I didn't have the notes right in front of me, I would have no idea there is lily of the valley, peony, jasmine, geranium. I mean, perhaps I do pick up a little bit of jasmine on the skin, but I don't find this a heavily floral fragrance. Now, I know a lot of people are probably wondering about the whipped cream and cotton candy. So as I mentioned, I do find this fragrance incredibly sweet and very sugary. So to my nose, that must be the cotton candy. Now, I don't think green cotton candy is very popular. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen green cotton candy. Usually it's pink or blue, but that's exactly what my mind imagines. Green cotton candy. Now, as far as the whipped cream and marshmallow notes go, I can't say that yes, I can distinctly pick out those notes. However, I do think that also adds to the creamy, sugary undertone. All right, so let me quickly top off this fragrance again. I have been wearing it all day, but I do want to show you the wonderful atomizers that Kayali has. I mean, look at that. Their atomizers are just the best. This just smells so delicious and so delectable. Now, I can definitely pick up the rum in this fragrance. However, if any of you have smelled Vanilla Royale, you might be running from the hills. Don't run away, you guys. It is okay. The rum in this fragrance is nothing like Vanilla Royale. That fragrance I find quite complex, very deep, and the rum in that fragrance, whoo, that is a strong glass of rum. But in this one, it is very light and rounded. Now, I don't really find that this fragrance changes a ton from the initial spray through the dry down. Now, when it comes to the initial spray though, I definitely do pick up the bergamot. And it does provide a very uplifting, kind of a bright, yes, almost citrusy lime vibe. Now, even though my nose can't necessarily detect any of the raspberry, when you really think about raspberries, they are much like strawberries, especially wild strawberries, in the sense that they're not super sugary sweet. I mean, yes, they are sweet, but they can also be a little bit sour. So that's almost what my nose picks up also. So taking all of the notes out of the equation, basically what I get is a very bright and uplifting sugary lime margarita without a ton of alcohol. This is just a beautiful fragrance, you guys. I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to be one of the people that get bathroom soap or something super soapy? Because I'm not the biggest fan of super fresh and soapy fragrances. I just do not gravitate to that scent profile. But I am loving Yum, and I do think this is a true gourmand to my nose. You know, another thing that really came to my mind is that this fragrance was described as a pistachio gelato, but it almost comes across as a sorbet. So if you've ever had the green sorbet that you can pick up from the grocery store, just like biting into that green sherbet, that's exactly what this fragrance smells like to me. Yeah, you guys, I am really enjoying this fragrance much more than I thought I would. Now, if you are interested in trying out Yum Pistachio Gelato, I do definitely recommend a travel size first, or if you go in person, to try it first. And the reason is, my nose does not pick up pistachio. Now, yes, I do pick up a sort of nutty undertone, but if someone did not tell me that this fragrance had pistachio, I would not be able to detect it. Now, once this fragrance does start to dry down on the skin and also the tester strip, the nutty undertones do certainly come to the surface, but this is not an overly nutty fragrance to my nose whatsoever. Now, even though this fragrance was nothing what I expected it to be, and even though I am really enjoying the Yum fragrance, I do have two pieces of advice. If for whatever reason Mona is watching, I really wanted to share this feedback with her. The one piece of feedback, or the first piece of feedback I should say, is I don't find that the way Mona describes some of her fragrances translate to how they actually smell on the skin or even any tester strip. Now, I actually did not find that was the case before Vanilla Royale. I did find the way the fragrances were described by the house were pretty accurate. However, when Vanilla Royale came out, everyone was expecting basically a more intense Vanilla 28. While yes, there are some Vanilla 28 undertones in Vanilla Royale, that fragrance is completely different. Now, don't be picking on my Vanilla Royale, because even though that fragrance, again, was nothing what I expected it to be, that is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. Now, I'm just kidding. If that fragrance doesn't work for you, I completely understand. But that fragrance is definitely one of my favorites. but I didn't find it translate how it was described on the skin. And you might be thinking, well, Danielle, everyone's skin chemistry is different, so it's going to smell different on everyone. And yes, that can definitely be true and often is, but I do find even when fragrances are just sprayed on the tester strip, they don't smell anything like how they're described. So just like Vanilla Royale, I do find with Yum Pistachio Gelato, I just think people were expecting something completely different because of how it was described. And of course, the other piece of feedback that I think we all are constantly leaving, we just wish Kayali would work on the longevity. Now that said, as I mentioned, I actually don't get terrible longevity or projection with most of the Kayali fragrances I have, but I know I'm definitely in the minority. So I really think if Kayali could amp up that oil concentration, have better longevity and projection, just kind of get multiple people's opinions on how these fragrances are going to be described on their launch dates, man, I just think this brand could be unstoppable. So I'm sure you guys can tell by the smile on my face, I am so happy with Yum Pistachio Gelato. This fragrance just smells absolutely beautiful to my nose. I cannot wait to wear it this coming spring and summer. And again, I understand not everyone is going to have that experience, but as far as me, this is absolutely a love. All right, you guys know what time it is. Definitely leave all of your thoughts down below. Are you interested in trying Yum? Have you picked it up? Have you tested it out? Do you love it? Do you not? Let us know all of your thoughts down below. All right, well, I really hope you all enjoyed this review of Yum Pistachio Gelato. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you all so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, guys.